Welcome back, everybody, to For Goodness Take. Today, we have Norfolk State legend Stephen Whitley. Stephen, how are you today?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Good, thank you.
Good,
So
good.
today we're going to talk some basketball, banter back and forth, and all that good stuff. To kick it off, what were the first 2 points you've ever scored?
The first 2 points I ever scored, I was playing for the Sherwood Knights. It was a rec league team in my area. It was actually a bounce pass from my friend Benjamin. He gave me a bounce pass on a fast break, and it was a layup, and that was the first bucket that I've ever scored. So I was around 6 years old around that time. So
Did you grow up playing a ton of basketball, or did you kind of just start out slow and then over the years start to fall in love more with the game?
yeah, just like a lot of people, man, basketball was something that I've known all my life. Ever since I could remember, my mom had a ball, placed in my hand, and just from there we've had a connection. So over time, that basketball love grew a lot, and I was able to make something happen with it. So
When did you realize you can start going somewhere with basketball?
around my 11th grade year was kind of like an eye opener for me. My first 2 years, really, we had some good D1 guys at our school. So my ninth grade year, I played JV. 10th grade year, I played varsity, but it was spot minutes. 11th grade year, I really jumped on the scene and, played pretty solid. And that summer when I was playing for Boo M's, going into my 12th grade year, I played pretty well, So from there, I was, like, if I keep going and everything, really stay disciplined, dedicated, and consistent to the craft, I can be pretty solid at this game. So
Throughout the whole grind, when did the nickname Diesel come to being, and what does Diesel mean?
okay. So actually when I was, young, I was playing AAU. I was playing AAU for the Norfolk Wildcats. Coach Cliff Coleman, Matt Coleman, University of Texas, the point guard. His father was actually my AAU coach. So we had AAU practice, and I was young at that time, and I couldn't really come up with a nickname. Everybody had to come up with one, and I couldn't really come up with one. But mind you, I was always a bigger guard, always a bully guard, and always had, strong and built abilities about me. So they came around me, to my turn when we was in a circle, trying to figure out our nicknames. I couldn't figure out one. So one of my ex-teammates' father yells out from the crowd, Diesel. And ever since then, it just stuck with me, man. So it's crazy how it went, but everybody calls me Diesel, man. From my professors at school, to anybody I come in contact with on the street, man. So it's a household name around now. So
Would you ever consider changing your name to Diesel?
a lot of people ask me that, man. It's catchy, what I mean. Don't get it twisted. But my mother named me, what I mean. I love my mom, and
Mm-hmm.
my name means the crown one, So I wear that with a crown hat, and I live it, with that say. But I don't know, man. I'm gonna pray on that, because a lot of people keep asking me, should I change my name to Diesel? So I don't know.
That would be interesting because Diesel isn't that really common of a name. I actually know a guy named Diesel, which is kind of funny. He
Really?
plays ball too, yeah.
Okay. So it's a couple of us out here. Then. Okay. A lot of people think I got it from Shaq, but that's not the case. That was never really my role model. Actually, when I was growing up, Keyshawn Lee, um, that was somebody I kind of looked up to on this area. He played basketball, played for Williams. He was one of the, a top player in the country back in his time when he was a freshman. So, but some things got caught up in everything. And, from there, I wore 34, because of him. He wore 34, and I looked up to him as a big brother. So that's actually why I wear number 34 and why people call me.
In college, you had to choose your number?
Yeah, in college, it was really like, yeah. I had to choose a number. My freshman year, I actually didn't want the number 34. I wanted to change and get something different, thinking that, I'm going to college, there's another scenery, let's change some things up. So I actually went with number 2, and it wasn't, the best situation. So I had to go back to the 3-4, man. And but yeah, when I actually the number 34 was actually retired at Norfolk State. True story. But once I wore it, everybody knew I wore number 34 and everything. So I guess at Norfolk State, people really didn't have those facts about the retirement at the time. So my jersey and everything was already made. Then it came up about the retirement, but it was too late, so they allowed me to wear a jersey and everything. So
Well, since you graduated, I think they have to re-retire it in your honor.
yeah, definitely, definitely. And even if, it get retired in my name, sometime down the road for, basketball or whatever I may, do for the school down in the future. So we'll see, we'll see.
Let me take you back before college. So coming out of high school, what was the recruiting process for you like? Why did you choose Robert Morris? And then why did you transfer from Robert Morris to Norfolk State?
Okay, so coming out of high school, before I even went to Robert Morris, I actually did a post-grad year in Fort Union Military Academy. My senior year, going into my senior year, I broke my hip. I went up for a dunk, and one of my teammates, didn't do it on purpose, but undercut me. He wasn't really trying to get in the way, so he was just trying to run by me. So I exploded, my knee hit him, and then I, broke my hip. But that's why I went post-grad, and then because my recruiting and everything in high school was very shaky. My 11th grade summer, I garnered a lot of D1 interest. Went to, 5-star camps, here in New York and other places like that. But like I said, I broke my hip. So all those interests and everything left. I went to post-grad to get my grades up, my SAT scores up, but also for the recruiting service, for the recruiting part. So after that, when I actually got to Robert Morris, I loved everything about Robert Morris as far as the people, the environment, new setting and everything like that I got accustomed to. My best situation, unfortunately, my situation on the court wasn't the best, and I wanted to look for other options. So when I transferred, Coach CJ Clemens, who was actually my assistant coach at Norfolk State University, my former assistant coach, was my head coach at Booker T. Washington High School for JV, and he was assistant for varsity. So I was going to commit to North Carolina A&T, probably, more than likely. But then last minute, me and him talked, and I just went on a visit back home. Really didn't want to go home, man. But sure enough, the visit was love. Everybody was loved there, for some familiar faces and everything, but it was a blessing, though, for sure. So,
Okay. Being at Norfolk State, what team was the hardest for you to play on the road?
in conference or out of conference?
In conference.
In conference, man, I probably got to go with A&T. North Carolina A&T, man, it's crazy in there. First of all, like when you come out for the warm-ups, like you're coming out, it's kind of like not through a tunnel, but like you're coming out in like the cut. So like if you can imagine from where you're saying, you kind of coming out from the backside. Once you're coming out, it's people just right there over top of you, just doing all the crazy stuff, man. So you gotta, be folks and everything. You come out, warm ups, get all crazy. Then they on the each end, behind the backboard, they got something which is called the dog pound, and that's the student section, man. So as we're sitting down, the dog pound is going crazy. Like it's all music, they dance and all that stuff, man. It's just the atmosphere in there is electric. It's dim, it's not too bright in there. It's not too cold, not too hot, but it is, a little warm, so blood flowing and everything, man. It's just electric in there. It's electric in there. And you got a couple other solid spots. North Carolina Central, Bethune-Cookman is pretty solid. Hampton, I can't forget about them. That's our rival. But yeah, so those will probably be the top 3 toughest.
Isn't Quee Parker on North Carolina A&T?
Yeah. Quay on A&T. He's the same. He still got the same electricity. Nothing changed, man. Energetic guy, athletic. Lobs. Plays off the crowd. Good player. Nothing changed. He's still there. I mean, he's still exciting. Check him out.
So seeing him in pregame warmups and layup lines, what's the craziest dunk you saw him do?
Well, unfortunately, I wasn't really looking down there too much per se, because like I said, that was this past year was a big year for us. We was going into that road weekend that we had to play. We was actually tied for first and second with A&T, North Carolina A&T. So our mental mindset was, kind of on a different level. So we weren't really trying to watch them warm up in a sense because we was geared to play them and stuff like that. But you do catch a little glimpse every now and then. And I think one of them he did like the little he threw the ball up, and I think I was coming back. He threw the ball up and he just went up there, got mad high, caught the ball, and he just tossed it in. You know what I mean? But I couldn't really get to see all the other dunks. But the video is on YouTube, so they showed the warm ups from them because he's not the only one that got pretty solid bounce from them. So
I mean, his hops on tape are otherworldly, but I can't even imagine what it's like in person. Like, is
in
it even crazier in person?
yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. But like I said, it's like once you get in that mode, of guys that you see on the internet and all that stuff, and then once you actually get on the floor with them, it's really like you lock in. You really don't really focus too much about what you've seen and the phenomenon stuff and all that stuff. So it's crazy, like I said. But once that game started, it is what it is. So I'm gonna go rebound around them, near them, regardless. So I'm not really tripping too much.
I mean, dunks can happen in game. So have you ever caught somebody under the rim, or has anybody ever caught you under the rim?
Oh yeah. I've had my fair share. I've been dunked on. I've dunked on people too, though. That's a part of the game. My type of game is aggressive style. I'm a dog. So I do all of the gritty things. Whether it's going for blocks, steals, getting on the floor, putbacks, blocking out a big. I do all the gritty stuff. So it's times where I might be boxing out a big, or coming in to try to go get a board and somebody makes a box. Basketball plays happen, I get dunked on, whatever. But I've caught people too. I'm not athletic for nothing, so I've given out my fair share to people over the years, and I've got my fair share as well. So
I mean, as you said, being gritty is a huge part of your game, and being gritty means being great at defense. And being
right,
great at defense means getting dropped a lot. Because if you're not playing good enough defense, you're not getting dropped. So,
right.
who is the hardest player you've ever had to guard? Having played in EYBL for a year, having been playing D1 basketball, who's the hardest player you've ever had to guard?
Okay, so when I played for Boo Williams, I actually didn't play EYBL. I actually played for the B team, but we played against this kid, Devin Robinson, that went to Florida, kind of in the league now. He was pretty good when we actually played against him when I was coming up for Boo. He was pretty solid. Another guy that's pretty good, Malik Trent. Malik Trent is real good. Played at TCU. And then from there, he transferred back home, went to Hampton and stuff like that. So he's real good. Could put the ball in the hole, lefty, slick, smooth. He's real solid. And maybe Colleen Fisher. That might have been the hardest person I had to guard. That was our rival game against Hampton my junior year. It wasn't necessarily I've checked him plenty, times before, but I had an injury, so I couldn't really move how I wanted to move. But I'm trying to guard him as best as I can, So he was getting at me, but I got at him too. Our stats was around the same, so it really wasn't a bad scenario in a sense. So
Speaking of Hampton, Mikey Williams put them in his top 10. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's big, guys like Mikey Williams, that I'll be able to bring light to the HBCU culture is, it's big. But it like again, today, you see stuff like that, um, kind of starting to be, the main headlines in a sense. You see a lot of stuff going on and everything, and people are like, what's next? What's going to go on? Are these players going to, sit here and try to make a change within their roles or positions, or are they just going to sit back, let it go past them, and wait for the next man to do it? So it's great when you got top guys that want to be active and want to do something in their position to make a change moving forward, man. The only thing it takes is one. If somebody like Mikey or McCord, just come in, get to the league. That's
Mhm.
all those top guys really want to see. It's a lot that HBCU in itself, basketball, have to offer. It's just at the end of the day, those guys don't really see too much about, those, getting to the league and stuff like that. Those top guys getting to the league and everything. So, and it's more, them major schools got a little bit more resource and everything like that. But like I said, if he come, the light that he shed, on, basketball and, in the MEAC, SWAC, and all the other places, man, it'll be real big. So kudos to
What
him.
makes the HBCU culture so much more special than a Power Five culture?
Um, I won't even say it's more special, man. I won't sit here and try to say one is better than the other. What I will say is the love is different. A lot of times when you got people that can relate to your situation, relate to what you've been through, how you're feeling, um, it's easier for you, for them to be able to give you messages so you can move on moving forward. It's a lot of resources and things at our schools that just kind of puts us in place to be able to make a move moving forward, life after basketball, or not even life after basketball, just being a regular student in general. Um, and like, it's also love, you learn a lot about our culture, and not necessarily in the classroom, but through interactions, through our events, and things like that. And man, it's just unbelievable. It's something that I feel like, not just Black parents, but if you wanted that to see a different culture and how we, things that operate and experience of, HBCU realm, and that would definitely be a positive thing to do. I definitely suggest going to HBCU, because I've been to both. I've been to a PWI, I've been to a HBCU. So I don't really, and I've seen a difference, So I am saying, as a player, I've been to both. If you are thinking about your child or whatever going, or if you are a player thinking about going, it'll be a solid thing to look into. So
Interesting. Personally, when I first heard the HBCU movement, I was kind of confused because it's like the Power Five schools are known for producing talent, but at the
right.
same time, the HBCU ones are like the smaller schools. But I'm excited to see how this turns out.
Right. Yeah, it's like I said, and it's not necessarily that we don't have guys that down here that have talent, in a sense. Our top 4 teams in our conference, 5 teams, no knock to anybody else in our conference at all. But usually 9 times out of 10 can compete with majority of the teams in the country, can compete with everybody teams in the country without it being a fall off and all that other stuff. And actually go out there and win some games. I think the other half, is kind of what everybody uh, turns their back towards. That's kind of the side where you see games lose by 40 ball, 50 ball, and then guys like, oh, they stink. What I mean? It's not that's really the problem. We have talent in our conference. It's just, getting people to recognize the talent. And talent is everywhere. As long as you're talented, they'll find you. But like I said, before there was even PWI, back in the day, a long time ago, before we was born, maybe before our parents was thought of, this is where Black athletes came from, HBCUs, because we didn't have nowhere else to go. So the talent was there at first. It's just one change happened over time with segregation and everything like that, equality rights, civil rights. Change happened over time, and an acceptance came, basically. An acceptance came for an exchange of what we do and stuff like that. So, but like I said, we got talent down here. I'm not going to say, some guys out here that's better than me. Yeah, but when I get on that floor, you got to prove it to me. And you're not going to see in no aspect, any shape or form, and I'm going to be like, oh, he better than me. I'm going to sit down and back down. Like, you got a name, show me. You feel me? If you're supposed to be somebody, show me. Other than that, what are we here for? You know what I mean? It's basketball everywhere. We got talent. So
People are sleeping on some HBCU schools. Like 2 years ago, you guys took down Alabama in the NIT, so that
yeah.
was a pretty big deal.
Yeah. That was a real big game. And like I said, when we went to that game, I don't know their mentality, but I knew our mentality. We wanted to come out and prove a point, so and that's the thing that we did. We just came out and played how we normally play. It was no difference. It was no difference, man. We hit shots we normally, hit. Once we started hitting shots we normally hit, we played defense. We was top 30 in category, statistical categories in the country in defense, so we did that. We rebound, we do all the tangibles, man. So like I said, anytime we play against high majors, it's not really a worrier for me, what I mean? Because we have high major guys, or guys that have been in that realm in a sense, and some things happen, situations, and they, ended up with us. So it's no knockoff to me, man. Ain't no difference too much. So
Moving on from college basketball, the world needs to know what's next for you.
next for me is pro ball. I've been working out, just trying to stay ready as best as I can, till the world open back up until my time comes. So that's the next thing for me. Until then, I've been getting heavily involved in my community, because change needs to be made, not just in my community, but globally. This is the most consistent that this nation has ever been, since the tragedy has been going on, to try to make a change as a collective unit. So I think we've done great so far, but we still have a long ways to go. So that's why I've gotten involved into community. I know my position, I know my image, and um, the voice that I have. So as a leader, I want to be able to, step up and let people know what we can do to make a difference, stuff like that. So I've gotten involved into community, got more events and things like that planned. So that's all I've been doing so far.
It's great that you're doing that.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Of course. Have any teams reached out to you specifically, like overseas, NBA, G League, any of that kind of stuff?
Not really, per se. Like I said, once the lockdown happened, man, that kind of messed up a lot for not just myself, but a lot of, pursuing professionals coming out of college or whatever may have you, man. I had some invitational combines I got invited to. Unfortunately, they got, canceled. With the coaches and everything, I've heard from some teams, but it's really not too much push, and stuff like that going on. And we're, and like I said, once stuff start opening up a little bit more, stuff will start flowing in more. Since the phases have kind of been going, up a little bit, stuff has been opening up for me, and the market has been opening up as well since the NBA and overseas top leagues been getting started. So slowly but surely, hopefully, I'll be hearing something soon. But until then, I'll be ready. I'm getting ready.
Okay. I'm kind of excited to see you in the NBA because I can say with pretty much full confidence that it's going to happen.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Of course. So I'm going to switch gears on you. This is called the speed round. I'm going to say a word and you're going to say a phrase or a memory or do an action that first comes to your mind or best suits it.
Okay. That's different. That's neat. Okay, I'm willing to see.
Ready?
Yeah.
The real Spartans.
Yeah. Real Spartan, baby. You know me.
Not the ones in East Lansing?
Yeah. We're the real Spartans over here, man. I love them to death and watching them and everything, but we're Spartans, man. We wear that green and gold. So
Okay. Dog.
dog. Oh man. The dog eat dog world, man. If you ain't no dog, you feel me? It's gonna be hard out here to survive. So that's what I got for you. Gonna be in a dog.
Okay. Big guard.
Big guard, bully. All
Bully
right.
ball.
Bully ball. Yeah, bully ball, nothing you can do about it. What? You need help. Yeah.
Diesel ball. Call that diesel ball.
Yeah, we gonna call that diesel ball.
Shaq.
Big fella. Let me see. Oh, so the first thing that popped up as soon as I thought about Shaq was a dunk that he had on I can't remember the big name, man, but he wrapped his legs around him when he was done. And they ran down the court and the guy threw the ball at him on that and stuff.
If you met Shaq, would you introduce yourself as Diesel?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's real funny. Somebody else actually asked me that, and I would. I'll introduce myself as Diesel, and kind of like, I got real respect for Shaq and everything like that, but kind of be playful in a sense, because Shaq got a lot of energy and stuff like that. So I definitely think our energy will match if we was to meet and stuff like that. But I definitely introduce myself as Shaq, even though he mad big. I'm like, yeah, I'm Shaq. What?
How about Stephen Whitley?
Something about myself. Don't quit. You know what I mean? I don't quit. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing about Stephen Whitley at the end of the day. Good kid, great energy, don't quit. You know what I mean? So that's about myself.
That's where that dog comes in.
Yeah, that's where that dog come out. I've seen a lot. You know what I mean? I got love for my people. So my whys and my motives really drive me. Like some people really got whys and motives, right? But my whys and motives really make me into a dog, if you get what I mean. So
I got you for sure. So moving on, I'm going to switch it up on you one more time. This is
okay.
called Recruit Me. I'm a 5-star point guard out of Los Angeles, and I narrowed my schools down to 4: UCLA, Duke, Virginia, and can you guess the fourth one?
UCLA, Duke, Virginia, and Kentucky. No.
Norfolk State. So how are you
Four,
going to convince me to commit to Norfolk State so you can pass the torch to me?
kind of the same way I convince everybody. At the end of the day, it's not really where you play at; it's how you play where you play at. Um, you know, um, it's one thing to go to UCLA, Duke, UVA, right, where coaches are established, traditions are made, and they done been on that big stage for a long time. But when you think about the rest of these mid majors, right, and you think about before a lot of these top mid majors, before they were top mid majors, they started from a mediocre stage, maybe, right? And they had to build their program up. If you're a top talent, do you want to join a tradition that's already been a legacy, or do you want to put yourself in a position to create your own legacy? Because at the end of the day, if you're good enough, they're going to find you. McCord Maker, when he started playing, 30 scouts are going to be in that same gym, just like it would have been UCLA. Nothing going to change. But if you want to build a different type of history with your staple on it, and you ain't got to worry about a tradition or legacy, there you go. There's your answer.
Okay. How's Coach Robert Jones?
He's a great guy. Probably the best X and O's coach I've ever known. He was he allowed me to be able to come in, allow me to be able to use my skill set to be able to be an impact on and off the floor. With me and Coach Jones, the thing that really drove me to be able to come to Norfolk State was a relationship with a coach. That's one thing I really wanted. At the end of the day, even where I was at Robert Morris, I didn't really have a relationship with a coach in a sense, where I felt like I could trust you, come to you in anything. And being a head coach over there at Norfolk State, he gave me that straight off the jump, So ultimately, man, I got mad love and respect for him. So.
Okay. What's game day like? So I walk into Joseph E. Eccles Hall in layup lines. What are the fans like? What's the team like? Give me that painting.
Fans, it depends on what side you're on, but usually some fans getting geared up, ready. People are coming in, flowing into the seats, music playing, DJ is playing some pretty solid music, man. It's like a party in there. It's rocking. Band is slowly coming in and everything. It's pretty solid on game day, man. It's I kind of really try to get the kind of do the same thing, throughout game day and everything. After we have our pregame, shoot around and all that stuff, put up extra shots, get some ice, kind of thing, and then settle down. And I come back out, for pregame, and it's time to rock out. So.
Okay. I think I heard enough. I loved your pitch. With everything you've been saying, I'm going to commit to the Norfolk State University. Go Spartans.
Yes, sir, boss. That look good on you, baby.
Thank you. My letter of intent and jersey are coming in the mail soon. This is all they gave me so far, so I'll have some tape, but let you know what's going on soon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, man. That's tough. Okay.
Well, that concludes this episode of For Goodness Take. Steven or Diesel, thank you so much for being on the show. Any final questions or comments?
Nah, man. You have a great day, man. And thank you for having me. And go green and gold, boss.
Go green and gold, and best of luck to you.
Best of luck to you too.